Well, good afternoon from the allotment in the new greenhouse. Finally got it done. Did the last few little bits of sweeping in the kiln dried sand. So that's firmed everything up on the floor. So finally got the bed done. That's complete now, just ready for planting. So yeah, it's great to be in. I've moved some of the stuff out of the main greenhouse and put that across here. So the idea is going to be, that's going to be sort of like the production area, getting things done, seeded, started off, and then I'll move things into here gradually as time and space allows. So what I'm going to do today is it's a quick 5-minute video. Been really busy this week, not managed to get down too much. I've just turned a few beds over outside just to break get any of the weed seeds off the top. So I'll just give you a quick look at what we've got going on in this greenhouse, and we'll go from there. Okay. So guys, as I say, this bed's been done. It's all prepped, prepared, dug over, a little bit of manure in there, some leaf mould, compost. So that's ready to go. I've just got to think about what I'm going to put in it. There's the second greenhouse. So as I say, that's going to be where sort of like the seed sowing and everything gets done. I'll move things into here. Once this fills up, I'll start to use the benches in there as well. This greenhouse is going to make it really a lot easier. Because we get partway through the year and I'm still putting things out and still growing things on, but I'm wanting to get that greenhouse prepared because that's where I keep a lot of my chilies and my peppers. So having this is going to really sort of pay dividends really and take the pressure off a little bit. So back to in here, I've got some of my chilies and sweet peppers already up and running. I started these off at home. As soon as they germinate and get to a decent size similar to this, I bring them down and I store them in a cold greenhouse with a propagator. If it gets really cold, I double prop them, so I put a small propagator into a large one just to make sure that they're okay. So I've got over there jalapeno, chilies, I've got sweet Frigitello, some hot Scotch bonnets. I'm not really a big spicy man. I don't like things too hot, but that's for one of the son-in-law's fathers who puts them in his chilies, so they're for him. At the front here I've got some Ailsa Craig onions. What I've done, this whole tray was full, but what I've done is I've potted half of them out and I have left some in here. So basically they're the ones that I've potted on, so they can stay in there till sort of late spring, and I'm going to leave these ones in here for the same amount of time, and let's see how they fare. Some strawberries just underneath there that are doing well, starting to green up now, so they're going to be ready to go out this spring. I can just see little new shoots coming through, so that's always a good sign that things are ticking over nicely. In here I've got some lupins and some Godetia. I don't know if I've spelt that correctly. First time I ever planted Godetia. I got some seeds last year off a plot neighbour and they put on a great show, so I collected the seeds, same as these lupins. These are off my lupins from the plot, and I planted those, sowed those yesterday. Move my cup out of the way. Yeah, Golden Gourmet shallots, they're in there. And then I've got my broad beans in here and some Red Sun Golden Gourmet. I managed to pick these alpines up from the a supplier where I go. They were 30p each. I thought, I can't leave them there, 30p. I've got to be able to make use of them. So I think I've got about, there's about 15 there. There's some down at the bottom as well. So I'll find somewhere on the plot for them. On the top, I've got some onion sets that I've put in, stir on. As I say, I've never grown onions from seed before, so this is a first. But I thought to myself, to be on the safe side, I best put some stir on in. So I'm looking at, in total, probably around 80, 100 onions there, if everything goes well. So I'll just take it outside. This is another thing that I did through the week. This used to be one continuous lawn, but what I've done is I've put a path in there now. It's just easier with the barrow when you're coming up from the bottom of the plot, or having to go over the timber and then over the grass and up the steps. So that's worked out quite well. I'll show you in my little lean-to, as I call it. This is where I just keep my tools. As I say, that's where the log burner is going to go. It's a nice place to sit with a cup of tea and look out. So having this greenhouse has meant that this one is nice and empty. It's nice and clean, so I can start and plan what we're going to be doing in here. So at this moment in time, it's nice and empty. Just my canners underneath there, and I've brought out my dahlias, which are underneath this fleece, because I'm going to start to look to pot them up and show them the light again. Underneath there's it was a kiddie's sand pit. I use that now for my potting compost, and that's where the cucumber's going to go. So next week I will be moving the net tunnel across onto the bed over there, and I'll be tackling the 2 beds down at the bottom that I mentioned, and I will also start sowing certain flowers, cosmos, things like that are all going to get sown this week at home. I've purchased a Super 7, which is a propagator with 7 of the small seed trays on and the lids from King's Seeds, and it was reduced. I think it was £40, reduced down to £29.99. So that were a bargain. If anybody's thinking of purchasing and they want to nip over onto their website and have a look, I think they've still got them on offer. I've just tickled over these beds. There were a few weeds in amongst the garlic, so I've tickled over those. I like to just turn over the beds every now and then. There's always a few weed seeds sat on the top, so it's good to just give them a tickle, and I've done that. This planter I was going to put in a plum tree. It's quite a big planter, it's 1 metre square, but I have got, in fact I'm going to show you it, I have got a huge dahlia, and it's about, if I plant it in here, it'll go at least 1 metre high by 1 metre wide, with like lovely burnt orange flowers. So I think that's what I'm going to do in there. I'll take you into the shed and I'll show you that. You'll have to excuse the shed. I've not vacuumed it. Let's have a quick look. There we go. So this is the shed. Bit of a mess, but let me try and get you a view of this dahlia. Look, I don't know if you can appreciate the size of that, but that's my hand. It's an absolutely huge dahlia with huge combs. Now ideally I'd love to split that, but I don't know the first thing or where I'd start, and what I don't want to do is damage it, because as I say, it puts on an absolutely fantastic show, at least 1 metre high by 1 metre square, with a profuse amount of flowers. So there's a guy next door to me who does dahlias. He's got loads in his garden. He's a bit of a specialist, so I might ask him to come over and give me a little tutorial. So yeah, so this is the shed. I've got a few things in here, a little cupboard. I've got my bin. I've got a bench here that was intended to be a potting bench, but I never used it. And I've got 2 windows in, and then at the top I store all my seed trays. This is insulated. I insulated it, so I've clad it and I insulated it, so there's insulation behind this. So what this does, it does keep it really warm in the winter, but it keeps it cool in the summer. So it's a really good shed. I've got this part here that I've got to tidy up, which is the lean-to, and in there I've got all my nets and things like that. But again, that needs sorting out, because I've sorted out my potting, all my pots. They used to be in that shed there. That shed's going to the son-in-law's dad, who's just acquired an allotment, so I've got to find somewhere for all these and all my trays in there. So I'm thinking of putting them in to here, so it means I've got to get rid of junk, stop hoarding, and try and get some organisation. Right guys, I think that's it for me today. Sometimes you come down to the plot and you really want to go for it and you get stuck in, but there are other times you come down and you can't be bothered. Problem is I've got a jobs list to go to when I get back home. The wife's waiting for me. So well, I'll introduce you to my friend Graham over there. Hey up, Graham, you alright mate? He won't look up, he's very shy. He's very shy. So as I say, I'm going to leave it here today, and I will see you in the next video. Thanks again to all the subscribers. Watch out for the next video. I'll speak to you soon. Everybody take care. Bye bye.